It's funny. Elvis Peralta goes out there, gives a great game. Um, and then when he's done, the kids are all cheering for Elvis. He comes and they're like trying to push each other to get him to sign a baseball. And he goes, "Don't worry, guys, I'll sign everybody's stuff."
Awesome.
And he stands there and signs them all in line, and then takes some kids over to the bullpen and plays catch with them.
He gets one high in the air. Left field. This one's got a chance. And let's go on a cowhide. Joyride. Sound the horn. The RailCats clear the yard.
Hello, RailCats fans, and welcome back to RailCats Podcast. He's Chuck Polarek. I'm Kyle Svetich, and I'm tired, Chuck.
I bet.
Not only am I tired of winning a game, losing two games, not winning a series, but this was the first weekend of my busy time of the year. I had paternity pictures today. I had my niece, or two of my niece's birthday parties today. And then yesterday on Saturday, we had our first baby shower. A lot of presents, a lot of cool things. It was Star Wars themed. They had a stormtrooper that was about 5'7", blown up, taller than me. I was jealous. Yeah, so let's just put it this way, Chuck. You're gonna have to carry this podcast this week,
All right.
because I
Stretched out.
was able to watch a game and a half. So I apologize on that front. So that's probably why it's been a little dead from me on the internet stuff. And I'm glad, before we get into talking about the games, I'm glad that the RailCats social media has gotten 10 times better than it did in years past with updates in the games. So it kind of feels like it's taken something off my plate to try to get everyone else to like know what's going on. And realistically, with how bad the games, with the amount of losses, I shouldn't say how bad the games in it, besides the 15 to 4 loss against Milwaukee, taking that one out and throwing that away. That way I don't feel obligated, and I should never feel obligated in the first place to do it, but it just helps knowing that someone's at least getting the score update somewhere, and it's
Yep.
coming from the team.
Yep. Yep.
So I'll run through the games real quick. First series against Lake Country, game 1, 4-3 loss. Game 2, a 12-3 win. Game 3, 4-3 loss. Milwaukee, a 15-4 loss. Game 2, a 7-2 win. And then today, game 3 was a 6-2 loss. Yeah, it's a lot of win a game, lose 2 games. The Lake Country series, it was close. Besides, really, the game 2, which we won 6-3, but it was still kind of close. It could have gone either way, which I kind of expected it to do. Milwaukee one, I was kind of surprised by a little bit. Getting shellacked the first game and then kind of give it to him back, and then today's game, like I said, you're gonna have to carry this portion of it. I see the scores, and
Yeah.
that's about it.
So the first game, 3-3 in the seventh inning, gets rained out.
Yes.
We come back, and in the bottom of the eighth, we give up 1 run. We don't score. Game's over. The next game, we go out there. We go 3-3 in the ninth inning. We score 3 runs. Nate goes out there, shuts him down 1-2-3. Game over. Beautiful, beautiful game. The third one, can't remember when it became 4-3, but right there in it again. And this is against Lake Country. Lake Country is a pretty good team, right? So definitely held our own. I think that they were kind of getting pissed because there's no reason why Gary should be in these games, and they were. But hey, we did the job and almost completed it, almost finished it up. So I think that was the high. The low was we go into Milwaukee, and Milwaukee has not been doing very good. And then Milwaukee kind of gives us the business.
Yep.
And I think that it was. Here's the thing. Chris Irwin, he was on the injured reserve, came out, gave a good game, but I don't know if something's going on with his arm or not. Very well could be. Also, there's some teams that, I mean, when you've been in the league as long as Chris has, there's some teams that just know your stuff.
Yeah.
And that's could quite possibly be a reality. But other than that, hey, once you're down 10, 12 to nothing, you just go out there and try to just get the game over with. But then game two, I actually went to game two
Oh, okay.
yesterday, and boy, was I running my mouth. It was great. It was great being on the other side of things and feeling some confidence.
Mhm.
The guy goes out there and walks us and it's like, ball 8, ball 9, ball 10, you know, great time. Here was an interesting thing about yesterday's game, and I hope Joe's listening to this. There was a couple of things that happened yesterday that go kind of beyond baseball. The first thing was Jason came up to me and told me that he had been at the hotel the day before. And, in Milwaukee, they've got like 5 or 6 different Little League fields,
Mhm.
and they have tournaments there all the time. And apparently at the hotel, they had a bunch of kids from some of the tournament teams. Down from One of the teams was down between us and Joliet.
Mhm.
It's apparently a 30-minute drive to Gary from where they're at. But Jason was talking to the coaches. The coaches invited him to a game that they had. He showed up to the game, gave the guys, told them, hey, I'll have tickets waiting for you at the game, invited them to a game. Here are these 20 kids, 25, might have even been 35 kids show up, all rooting for Gary, all cheering for us. And then this was something else that was funny. Elvis Peralta goes out there, gives a great game. And then when he's done, the kids are all cheering for Elvis. He comes and they're like trying to push each other to get him to sign a baseball. And he goes, "Don't worry, guys, I'll sign everybody's stuff."
Awesome.
And he stands there and signs them all in line, and then takes some kids over to the bullpen and plays catch with them.
Elvis, this guy, I really wish the story on him was pushed a little harder. Because I'm sorry that I'll take this back to last week. When we were playing the Dogs, and I can't think of the gentleman's name. He has all of the baseball cards, and he has all the opposing teams, or whoever he has the cards, he has to sign them. And he was talking about the catcher, who's a former MLB player for the Dogs. I can't think of his name. He was just talking like, oh, he's an ex-MLB guy. He doesn't want to sign. He's a butthead, or whatever the case may be. And then you get an Elvis Peralta who gets half butt featured on the American Association for going to Milwaukee and spending 30 minutes with some kids. But then, you have Jason invite a handful of teams, or a handful of players from a baseball team to come and watch, and then Elvis takes the time out of his day after the game. I know they won that game, but like they could have lost it. And I think Elvis still would have took it upon himself to sit there and sign everyone's balls and take him to the bullpen. Like, he's just taking that extra bit of step, and I think that's something that the league should be pushing, because that's something you don't get anywhere else at the moment. So that's just my take. Even in the grand scheme of things, we're sitting right now, the record's 8-19. We're sitting dead last in the league, but there are guys that are performing, and it's just like Elvis is not a top performer on the team, because he is. I just wish his story was featured a little bit more and a little bit better than what it has been already.
And we give out these awards
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the season, right? Rookie of the Year, Rookie Pitcher of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, whatever, all these different awards we give away. Not us, but the league, right? And I wish they would have like these other leagues do the humanitarian award, the Walter Payton Award, that kind of stuff. Because I'll tell you what, I think Peralta is at the top of the list.
Yeah.
And I say I hope Joe's listening to this because I hope Joe actually reaches out to the guy and tells him, hey, thanks for helping give Gary a good
Yeah.
name. Because that's what he's doing. When you go to these other parks and you are treating these kids and these people the way that he does, you're giving Gary a good name, and that reaches a whole different level. And so I hope that happens because he deserves it. It's what he's doing is being seen, and it's amazing. So that was the big thing about game two. I didn't get to see much about today other than the fact that, I believe we were down pretty quick and, couldn't necessarily come back. When I saw it was 2-4 and then there was a rain delay or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then when I looked again, they were shaking hands on the mound. I'm like, oh, we lost. So, but that being said, it was told to me yesterday that it looks like our visa players have gotten approved.
Okay.
I don't know what the routine is, but apparently they've just got to make an appointment at the consulate or at the I think it's at the embassy, something like that. They have to make their appointment to get the thing stamped or whatever it is, and it should take 2 to 3 days, and they'll be on their way here. So it feels pretty good that Marcos will be here by in the next 7 to 10 days. I guess Carlos Machado is also the other guy that's a good possibility that he'll be here in the next 10 days. So that's great. Hopefully Marcos makes a big difference at second base.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he will. And that's a spot where we have a little bit of a weakness. And hopefully that makes some changes to our lineup as far as the batting goes. So hope to see that. It's here's the thing. We get lucky with this visa thing. I kind of feel like Lamar's the kind of guy that doesn't want to bring somebody in for 2 games and get rid of them to make a change just to be making a change. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But knowing that, maybe he was just, hey, I think the visa thing's going to work. I think it's going to work. Let's hold off. But we're almost a third of the way through the season now. And it's like, okay, how long do you wait? So let's see. That's another 8 games that we have to wait until, we get somebody. But hey, we're in these. It's not going to take much to flip that switch, and let's just hope that it does. Let's hope that it does.
Yeah. Again, I work with the public, and when I work with the public and I work at a sporting goods store, I do run into players from time to time, and I did run into Howard and Nick as they were on their way to actually Milwaukee to, I think they're playing with the Black Sox. I think they're heading up that way. And I was able to talk to, I was middle busy with work, so I couldn't really take a lot of time, and I was getting ready to leave, so I was I couldn't take a lot of time with them, but I did thank them for them being with the team and me being able to watch them and blah blah this and that. But the interaction that I had with Howard about his release kind of threw a red flag up for me a little bit, because it seemed like everyone on the team was kind of like, why did he get released for another player that isn't doing as well, or he hasn't even gotten a hit yet? So it was just one of those situations where Howard, you could put him kind of anywhere. So it's I understand if Marcus is coming back, if Marcus came back, at that point you're battling out Allgaier and Howard. I know Allgaier's average hasn't been there, but he is driving in runs, getting sacrifice flies, he's getting hit. So he's producing. So it's kind of hard to put him at that. But I'm just saying, at the end of the day, some moves are a little bit questionable than not. At this point, if you were trying to figure something out, And if you think you were to get Marcos back, like maybe start shifting some gears a little bit and see what's going from there. Or maybe it was just a hold until Marcos got here and he called it a day. I don't know what he's going to do with the outfield. With Machado coming back, it's going to be interesting to see what. I don't know what movements are going to be coming. Like I would guarantee you, Williams is going to be gone. I just pure at heart that, but outside of that, I'm not 100% sure where you're going to go with the rest of that necessarily. But again, the issue is I want to say in every game that I watched, the RailCats in the first inning were up by 2 runs.
Yep. And
they stalled out all the way until like the 7th, 8th inning. Right? So there's no I don't know what it is. It's like they can't keep the traction going. They should be destined for runs and runs and runs and runs, and it flatlines.
I should have asked you to look this up, but I believe that we're at like how many games did you say we played so far?
What was it
27? 27? Okay. And I think that we might be close to 27 times we've had the bases loaded. I mean, it's pretty close. And that was happening again, where we get the bases loaded and then they get us out.
I'm pulling it up right now.
Yeah, it feels like we get guys on base, we get something going, nothing happens. Next inning, we get guys on base, we get something going, nothing happens. Then we go 1-2-3, 1-2-3 a couple of times, and then all of a sudden we get guys on base, and it's like, okay, we're awake now. Let's go.
So right now we've had 26 at bats when bases are loaded.
26. There you go.
Our average is 269.
Yeah, it was 250 before, I believe.
Yeah.
So we're improving.
We're improving, but again, like when you look at this excludes today's game. But you're still batting a 221 with runners in scoring position. You're still batting a 167 with runners, and your pitching side of things with 2 outs, we're giving up runs with runners in scoring position. So it's just there's no outweighing it. But like when bases are loaded, there's been 33 at bats with bases loaded. The other team has only gotten 5 hits for 157 batting average or 152 batting average. So like that on some situations but again, it's the traction's not there. As a team, as leadoff hitters, we're only batting at 230. It's like we have to be able to produce something. I mean, we have 21 walks, but like it's just producing at some sort of level of keeping the momentum going, and it just seems like everything just stalls out, and it's either a hard hit ball right to someone or it's going down looking. It's I don't know how to describe it, but again, you look at the scores, and when you really break the scores down, you really look at it, you're in every game almost. I mean, yeah, there's a handful of games where it blows itself up, but that's going to happen.
Not even.
I can count. I think maybe there's 4 games where it's blown out of the water, and that happens, right? But where does the change come into play? Because again, you go from the top of the order, they're producing, but then you get to the bottom order and it all stalls out, and there's no.
I think that's where I think you've got Marcos coming in. You have to make a change. You have to those 7, 8, 9 hitters. It's a struggle. And you've taken Nick Olch was doing a good job. I felt like, I don't know what his average is, but I felt like he was hitting the ball quite a bit. You've taken him out and not really had him playing very much. You've had.
Well, I know Nick was dealing with a leg injury, so I think he's dealing with a little bit of that because he got pulled out of that game in Gary. And when I think that was that Friday night before the Bark in the Park, because when they did, or that Saturday, because when they did the video for the Bark in the Park, he had something down his leg, and I remember Andrew mentioning something on the broadcast that he had a lower body injury. So
So he's been out. Haven't seen him very much. You've got you're putting Cooper in to play, and you're having Noriega as a DH, and Coop isn't hitting.
mhm.
So really you've got to kind of solidify some of those spots, and I mean I here's the thing. I don't know why we change the lineup every single day. I don't know. That's a question that I want to be able to respectfully ask because I genuinely want to know the answer to it. Uh, because my thinking is you want stability
Mhm.
and you want reliability. And so if you've got a guy hit, lead off, you want him to get used to being the leadoff guy. You want the guy that's hitting three to be used to going up there with a couple of guys on. You want, these are situations that you want the guys to get used to. And when you have a guy batting one and then batting three and then batting five, it's like, okay, where are we at? What are we trying to do here? Is it we're trying to play the matchups? We kind of know who they're pitching and we're trying to, mess around. Is it that one guy bats, 150 when he's up against left-handers and he bats better when he's up? I mean, I don't know. I genuinely want to know the answer of why we change the lineup every day.
I think a lot of that has to do with, like, again, Lamar likes to play the quote unquote matchups. So I think a lot of it's like what you're facing and what you're. They get the scouting report that we don't. So if for example, if it's a guy that's known for throwing a lot of fastballs, I could see someone putting a Jose Contreras in there for that exact reason, because if he connects the ball's going to go flying 500 feet to left field. But if you have a guy that's throwing nothing but nasty pitches the entire time, you already watched what Jose Contreras can do against a slider. He's going to swing and miss at everything. Like, I'm just using him for example because he's someone that's in and out of the lineup consistently. So, like, I don't know if it's one of those situations where it's, hey, this is what the numbers say, we should play to it. But again, I think the early on not winning games and the lineup at the bottom is not producing is starting to trickle its way up to the top of the order, because you're starting to see a Jarius Richards, you're starting to see a Swazi. Their numbers are starting to come down. Radcliffe's numbers are starting to come down. Peralta's numbers are coming down. Like, and I think that's due to the lack of momentum, because even though baseball's, you can claim it a pitch to pitch game, but you have to build that momentum, right? And if the momentum cuts off the bottom, it's just like, oh, I have to go up and I have to produce again, where I should be able just to maybe watch a couple pitches, take a walk, like maybe play something else. But now I have to try to, instead of hitting a single, I have to try to hit a double, because if I don't hit this double, I know that I'm not going to be able to score.
Yeah, I don't know that I see a lot of that. I see it feels like to me that we go cold, then the next inning we come up, we go cold. Top of the lineup, we go cold. We get 2 outs, and all of a sudden the guy gets on base and he steals a base, and then we got a guy on second, we strike out. A lot of that, it seems like they're, I don't know. I don't like playing the situations. I like to just say, hey, this is the lineup. This is what you're
No,
going to
I
get. And our guys are going to go out there and kill it. Whatever you throw at them, they're going to figure out a way to hit it. They're going to figure out a way to get on base. They're going to figure out a way to move the runners over and score. That's the kind of baseball I want to see. And
I agree.
we saw some of it. We saw some of it. I don't care who was pitching. That when you get Elvis on first base, I don't care who's pitching.
Mhm.
They had left-handed pitchers. Elvis stealing second base, and Jr. is batting, and it's like, okay, what's JR going to do now? Well, JR just gets a hit and Peralta scores.
Yeah.
Or JR takes the walk and now you got a double steal, or we messed that one up. Actually, Elvis stole third base while JR was still standing first, and then JR steals the next pitch, right? Or Elvis, gets, I don't know if he was off or he got out or whatever, but JR gets on first base, and one pitch later he's on second base, and one pitch later he's on third base. And it's like, okay, here we got a guy in scoring position just like that.
Yeah.
Let's bunt him in. let's get if somebody's up there with some power, let's get something to the warning track to get the guy in or something, and we're doing that. I think that's the thing, is that we're doing that in the first inning. The first inning, the guys are fresh, they're excited, they do it, boom, score a run, score 2 runs, score 3 runs, and then pitching goes out there, does a pretty good job. But then it's like, okay, now we forgot what we were doing, or maybe the pitcher's warmed up now and he's not throwing the same junk he was throwing. Something's going on. I don't know. These are questions I would love to get answers to, because and maybe Lamar is asking the same thing. Why is it we're running into this? But to me, it's, you get Marcos in that lineup. I think that might be the spark that we're missing, because what was Marcos last year? 250 hitter?
Let me double check real quick.
Pretty darn close.
He was a 261.
261.
Yeah.
So, give me a 261 for a whole season. That's pretty good. And here's the other part that maybe we're missing. These guys, it's easy to bat 400 when you've been up to the plate for 10 times, but it's the law of averages.
Yeah.
And the more these guys hit, the more people see their spray charts or see what's getting them out, all that stuff. And, the more data they get on these guys, and then it makes them harder to pitch, or, easier to pitch to. And hey, maybe there are some weaknesses to some of these guys that maybe they're going through a slump, but the other part of that is there's a good chance that these guys are going to get hot. And it wouldn't take much for us to go on a win 7 miss, lost 3 loss streak, or a 7 in a row. It wouldn't take much for that to happen.
Yeah.
We're in these games, and Nate, we kind of ragged him at the beginning about, hey, we're in this, and
You did.
No, not me. Not me. You're the one who threw up those stats. People listen to these stats. The first batter that he faces automatically gets on base. I mean, and then we watch the next game and he does the same thing. I'll tell you what, every time since then, the first batter has not gotten on base.
Well, I understand that, but I'm just saying you're the one tugging on that rag, okay?
No, I am Team Nate all the way.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah.
No,
I didn't say Chuck.
Hey, I love these guys. They go out there, they give everything they got. If they're struggling or whatever, it doesn't take anything away from the work that they're putting in, and I think Nate's kind of getting on that path where his stuff's working. So, I mean, hey, I'm excited, but the result sucks,
I think a lot of the issues, like with pitching, like especially in Nate's perspective, is he relies on the knuckle curve, he relies on the slider, like he relies on some nasty pitches, and when the weather's colder, it's hard to get those breaks, it's hard to get a grip on that ball. So the warmer the when the temperatures start to warm up, his pitches get a little bit more dirty. He's able to. So I think that through the progression of the year, his numbers are gonna get better. It's just like that beginning portion is just kind of like you look at it and you see like, oh, man, he's just not doing really good. But then all of a sudden he starts catching hot, which is something that you saw last year. It's the same thing as last year. Last year he came in, gave you some good innings, but it wasn't like impressive, and then it became all-star impressive. Right. So again,
we've got if we look at the pitching that we've had, starters,
yes,
Danny has been great.
Mm-hmm.
Took the loss today, but still been great. Peyton's been great. Diaz just had a great outing. I think it was 1 run, 6 innings, something like that. And he got into a jam or two where it was like, okay, and then boom, guys got him out of it. Some great playing, some great defense. But here's the flip side of that, though, is that the teams we've been up against, double play yesterday from a line drive to second base that no business to get, and all of a sudden he catches it and throws to first and gets the guy out, doubles him up, and that was like, okay, yikes, so they're throwing some leather out too,
yeah,
and and getting us LG a couple of great bunts. It's nice to see that he's, taking the position of I just need to move a guy over and getting it done. That's the thing. I like when there's a plan, even if I disagree with it. I like when there's a plan and there's execution. I hate when there's a plan and there's poor execution.
Yeah.
Bunt up in the air where the catcher grabs it and then throws your guy out. I mean, come on, stuff like that. It's like, oh, a waste. But then when I see a good bunt to move the guy over, or, really, here's the other thing. When we've got a guy like Elvis or a guy like JR, we don't have to bunt to move those guys over.
No.
They should just move over. We should be bunting them in.
It's a possibility. I honestly think at the point that we're running right now, I would almost look. I know this may sound crazy, but moving all guy to third spot. The reason I say that is because what he's been doing, at least with hitting like people in, he's making hard contact. Is if you have Elvis and Richards on somewhere, at least he can do his job and get them over. And I think maybe that's what we're lacking in is a little bit of like people, quote unquote, doing their jobs, right? Moving runners over and being productive.
Maybe put him as a number 4.
You could.
Because I kind of want somebody in number 3 that's going to be able to eyeball and only swing at the really sweet pitches so that these guys can move over, on their own, and be in scoring position for that guy that's going to hit the ball and we can score off of it rather than moving a guy from second to third.
You know who that should be?
Who?
Noriega.
You think?
At 40 at bats, he's only struck out 5 times.
I like
put him in third.
Yeah.
I would put him in the third spot. I mean, yeah, he's only walked once, but I think,
Algeier 4.
You could. You could rotate him somewhere else. I mean, realistically, well, he has 14 strikeouts to 71 at bats. So I mean, either way you flip that cookie, it could work itself out. Or maybe maybe Basabe. He only has 13 strikeouts at 92 at bats.
That sounds good.
So I mean, he's going to give you. If we're going off of that, I don't really mind that because you're either going to get Peralta or you're going to get Richards on. I think Richards on like a 22 on base streak right now. So like you're going to get him on. They're going to get on. One of the two is going to get on. Like there's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. And then if they're able to pull their magic now, Peralta I wouldn't say is someone that could steal second and third.
He has been though.
But that's mostly Richards.
Oh, I know, but
Peralta's been
one base off of Saturday, and Eric Ostberg is a good catcher. Elvis was running on him like nobody's business.
I guess there's a handful of ones that I can remember him getting caught where it kind of like leaves a sour taste in my mouth. And I'm like, you weren't just out, like you were out.
Yeah.
So that's ones where I'm like, dude. So like I said,
I think he's getting a little bit smarter with his leadoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And when he's taken off, I think that he's seeing something where he's like, okay, now I did see, I believe it was him, yesterday that made a jump, but the guy had thrown. He was a left-hander and he hadn't thrown the ball yet, and then he's like, and jumped back. And started to go back to the bag, and then when the pitcher threw the ball home, he took off and stole. But it was like sometimes we're getting a little
too cute.
Yeah, a little dangerous, and taking a little risk that we don't necessarily need to take. But hey, let these guys run. What's JR up at stolen bases? Last I looked, he was at 21. 23 now. So
yeah. What is he? 10 behind Diaz's?
13.
13 is there? I can't remember.
Yep, 13 and a bunch to go.
Yeah,
of the season.
He's played 23 games, has 23 stolen bases. So I bet you my life that he could finish out the season pound for pound of stolen bases in games played. So
That would be interesting. 100 stolen bases.
he at this
that
rate
would be pretty sweet.
he would have what 96 stolen bases at this rate because he's played 23 games. We're at 27 mark, so
yeah,
4 behind. It very could be possible. Now he's been very lucky with his on base streak that's taken him to this point. But even if he were to slow down a game or two, his ability to take second and third, I could see it.
right.
So I mean that's the one I'm really interested. Like at the end of the year, like how close is he to Brian Torres' record?
Oh, he's gonna blow Brian Torres' record out the water. I honestly think close to 70 games. I think he's gonna have it. If now there's a lot of ifs, anything could happen. But it is awesome having a guy like him on the team.
Yeah.
It is awesome having a guy like Elvis on the team. So if anything that I've learned out of this whole thing is that, I know we get comfortable with some of these players, but Lamar has brought in some talent. He's really brought in some talent this year. We just got to put it together.
There is talent. There is, because last year watching games, like you knew by the 5th inning the game was over, and It's just like we're in games, but it still has a little bit of the same feeling because that spark isn't quite there yet because I think they haven't trailed in a game after the 8th inning and has won that game. They're like 80 something. So like that little bit of spark is just missing.
Yeah, but that's the thing is that it's a little piece that we're trying to put together. We're missing just that little bit, and it would be great to see a guy, Marcos, come in, make a difference. Somebody like that, somebody that's going to give you a 250, 260 average. I mean, you get that, and you subtract out a 180 hitter. To me, that's pretty good. That's exciting.
So right now we have 5 batters that are batting above league average, which is a 248.
Okay.
Something last year, I think we had a total of like 2 or 3.
1, 2, maybe.
Yeah, 2 or 3. But I'm saying,
want to go by the end of the year? We got rid of one of them like 3 weeks before the end of the season.
But right now I'm not counting Hoover, who's at a 250 right now because he's been out, and you can't count Eric Meza because he's gone. But that just tells you how big of the drop off is from that top half of the order to the bottom. And right now, someone in that top half of the order is Baron Ratcliffe, and his numbers have dropped.
Right.
So it's just one of those, like, I think you need the bit of the reinforcements because, again, you're relying on the bottom half of that order, and they're maybe giving you 1 hit every other inning.
Yeah.
And that's a hit. That's not anything else. Like, that's just, you're lucky to get something.
So let's throw out some names there. You got the batting averages up. What's a Allgaier bet?
An Allgaier's batting a 169, but
okay, 169. How many at bats? Not how many counted at bat plate appearances. How many plate appearances?
I wouldn't be able to pull that up.
Okay.
Unfortunately. But so he has 3 sac flies at the moment. He has 8 RBIs, 1 home run, 71 at bats. He scored 8 runs. So outside of Swazi, Peralta, Radcliffe, and Richards, who all have double digits, he would be next at 8. So he's a top 5 in RBIs.
RBIs?
Okay. Yes. And then you have Noriega, who's right behind that.
All right. And so he's batting a 160?
169, yeah.
169. Okay. And what's Coop bet? He's got to be in the 090s.
107.
107. Okay.
Yes.
So he's bumped up a little bit. Last I looked, he was 100 exactly. Okay. And the new guy hasn't gotten a hit at all, right?
Williams, no. He has 11 at bats. He's walked twice, struck out 5 times, and scored 1 run.
Yeah. Okay. So, and the only thing I've seen him used for, other than playing second, was he did have a run. He did, was a pitch runner.
Yeah.
The one time. So, really not bringing much to you there. And then in the outfield, I believe LG's batting 230, 220?
220.
220? Okay.
Which he's been improving. LG has, because his lowest on June 3rd was a 212, and he's up to a 220. So he's slowly been progressing up.
Nick Olch, let's see, he's been batting.
Nick Olch is batting at 276, which he's 3rd. I know he went through a little bit of lull there, but it seems like he's turned it around.
And Contreras is batting 150.
Contreras is 182.
Oh, 182. Okay. So a handful of guys under 200. And of that handful of guys that are under 200, we've got to play at least one of them.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, you would have to play at least
Under
3 or 4 of them. Well, I guess under the 100 mark. Yeah, I would say, I guess, under the league average part, but yeah, under the 100 mark, or under the 200 mark.
Yeah, under the 200 mark, you're going to have one guy, and the reason why I say the 200, because typically in a game you're getting 4 to 5 at bats, and a 200 is getting 1 hit a game.
Well, I mean, you at least have to play one of them, and that one of them is going to be Allgaier.
Right.
You don't have to play Contreras. You don't have to play Edwards. You choose to play those 2.
Right.
I get, like, if it's like a doubleheader, or like instance today. Like, today was pretty warm. Like, I got some sun today, being outside. Like, that could be a case where, like, Noriega played all day or all week, and you want to give him a spell. That would be, he can DH and you put Cooper in. Yeah, that's the part that sucks about being the backup catcher at that point. But you get the crappy games.
But that's the thing, though, is that, I'll be honest with you, at this record where we're at right now, I think you're at that point where it's, guys, sorry, I can't give you a day off.
Yeah, no, you're not right. And that's, I just, there's no...
I mean, do you feel like we're at that point where it's like, hey, all hands on deck?
You have to.
Yeah, deal with it. We need to get some wins, and once we start winning some, then you can start taking some time off.
I get, like, maybe if a Swazi has a bad game or something like that, maybe just giving him a day and putting Contreras at first. But other than Allgaier, you do not need to use the other 2 at this point. Like, I get that Lamar has a soft spot for Contreras, and it just takes Contreras one time to get hot, and he'll ride hot for a couple weeks. Yeah, but he's not consistent.
Good. So why would I take Swazi out?
But that's what they say. There's not much difference when they both play first. If I'm being honest, there's not much difference.
No.
The only difference is what's in the batting order. And at that point, Swazi's batting at 257. Like, give me him.
Yep. So that's our wonderful discussion about the team. I look forward to facing Sioux Falls.
Yes, we have Sioux Falls and then Winnipeg.
Some Jabari Magic coming up. Jabari, the guy who owns the record for most home runs in the American Association, career home runs.
So, Chuck, what you're saying is, if you're attending Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, you might want to bring a lawn chair and sit out in left field.
I think so.
Jabari bats right? I don't remember.
Yes, I believe so. I remember last year when we faced him. He hit 3 home runs, I believe, in one game. And every time he came down, did the handshakes with everybody, and then came down and gave me a high five. So, you know, hard to forget 3 home runs in one game. So if you're out there in left field, there's a good chance that even if there's one, sit out there for number 2 and number 3. That being said, we have better pitching this year.
We do. Yeah.
So,
And we might possibly see a game or a series where we win at home.
that would be exciting to see.
It would be nice if we could see 2 series, one at home.
Winnipeg.
Yes, but Winnipeg, we do see them at the end of the week,
right.
and they are the only team that we have beaten twice
Yeah.
in a series to win the series.
It would be nice to see us take Winnipeg. Nice to see. We're right there, man. We're right there.
I wish that someone would come down, like an outside perspective view, and just be like, this is what the issue is. You know what I'm saying? Like, when we're in it, we can kind of see it, but like sometimes just having that other person, I go, well, here's your major issue. You can quote, well, we're in it, we should see it, but sometimes when you're up close, you get blinded to the situation a little bit.
It's
So,
of course for the trees, right?
yeah, who knows?
But we already know we've got some issues, and it's not pitching.
No, it's not.
Might be a starter, might be a couple relievers, but all done.
This is where I'll lead off or finish off. We are to the point to when these visas get fixed. It's rotation time.
Yes.
If there are players that are not producing, I'm sorry. You may feel near to my heart. We gotta rotate you out. I'm just saying, even if a Peralta drops off the face of the earth and is not doing productive, you have to rotate him out.
No.
We're
no. No.
Okay, all right. You give Peralta a little slack because of what he's done, but I'm just saying we're just past that point because you see other teams doing it. You see other teams putting in transactional work, and we're not doing that. And we are the bottom of the league.
You see, Chicago had 3 catchers.
Mm-hmm.
Hayden Dunhurst was one of their catchers. He gets released and ends up being a stud for the team that he got picked up by. And it's like, wow. So these guys are releasing good players because they've got an abundance of players at certain positions. And you would think that we would be like snagging up on some. But, Lincoln released a great second base / shortstop.
Mm.
And what do we need? Second base / shortstop. But we let him go by. It's like, okay, there's I guess if I'm going to be critical of something, I'm going to be critical of the fact that I've heard from numerous sources that people don't know who Lamar is, don't know how to work with Lamar, don't know how to talk to Lamar, that Lamar doesn't necessarily respond back, that they've tried to send, hey, Lamar, how about this? These players are available, blah, 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 and no response, that kind of stuff. So I guess if I'm going to be critical, I guess that's where I'm going to be critical on. There's been people out there in the association available. Great fit for us. We miss out on them. And then when you talk to them, they're like, Gary never reached out to me. Stuff like that. It's like, oh. So I don't know. But I'm wondering how many games I can go by saying we're this close, and eventually you fall off the face of the earth because you've reached that point where you've been this close so much, but the season's over with. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, almost only counts in hand grenade and horseshoes. So
well, sometimes when you go to baseball games, it feels like you got hit by a hand grenade. not a horseshoe. So,
Well, Chuck, do you have a final census for this week?
oh man, want to reiterate Elvis Peralta, definitely humanitarian of the year award. Love to see a guy like that talking to the fans, interacting with the kids. Really, he gets it. Would love to see a guy like that make it somewhere. You know what I mean? Like you see something like that, and you're like, God, I just want this guy to succeed. And really, he's one of those guys that I think is like close. So when you go to the game, cheer for Elvis, cheer for the RailCats, but cheer for Elvis. If you see him, give him a high five. Tell him good job. He deserves all the praise for just being a great guy. And other than that, no, nothing. Let's win some games. Win some games.
I agree. Well, that's all I got. So I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening, rest of your day, whenever you're watching this. And go Cats.
Go Cats.
The 0-2. Swing and a miss, strike three. Wrap this one up in green and white.